Kathy here from Kathyskutekreations. Today we're going to work on clue 7 of 10, and this is our cotton cuts name of the rose. So we're going to go ahead and continue with this. I just got this in the mail. I don't want to get behind. I'm already behind on a couple other things, so I'm just trying to catch up on everything. So let's go over here and take a look at the fabrics this month. And the block of the month was the same Irish chain, which I will show you here, that I got in my new cotton cuts that came, that I showed the last video of cotton cuts. Same exact thing. And now we're going to make 6 blocks out of this. And here's my little fabric sheet. I am Team NightOwl. And all I did was line them up alphabetically on the little design board here. So let's get started. We're going to take our A triangles, which are the small ones, and we're going to attach them to each side of a D to create a flying geese. I'm using a 12-inch needle. I'm using 2.5 inch for my length of my stitch, and I'm going to chain stitch these, and you can also chain stitch them if you would like. And the good thing about the cotton cuts is the tips are always taken off for you in advance when you get these pre-cuts. The reason that you don't want to do both sides is that before you do the next side on this, you need to take this and flip it and iron it, because we have to put our second piece, it has to be crossed over. And you will see after we go ahead and complete all of these. Now, I'm not pinning any of these. If you need to pin them or you want to clip them, that's fine. And you want to be real careful because you are working with the bias and you do not want your piece to stretch. And then the first piece is going to act like a leader ender so that it doesn't get hung up on you. And hopefully my hands are not in the way there. And this is all 1/4 inch. I love these pre-cuts. And you can go through here and you can iron all of them to begin with. I don't, because they normally come in the package already ironed. I only iron them if I've got an issue and I feel like they need to be made a little bit stiffer. Then I'll go ahead and I'll iron it. Otherwise I won't. So go ahead and do all of yours, and then we're going to take them and iron them open, and I'll be back. When you're finished with the one side, this is the way it will look. I have ironed them all over to the dark side, so they're all ironed this direction, so that when you put your next one on, this is what you're looking at. And it's going to cross over the tip of this. And that's what we're going to do with all of these. So let me get you started. And normally I will hold it on this end to make sure it comes all the way up to the tip, because there is a little bit of stretch in it. Just don't pull too much. And just continue until you're finished, and then we'll iron all these open. They'll look like this, and we're going to set these aside, and then we're going to take these two, which are D and B, and we're going to do the same thing. So let's repeat the process, and I'll get you started. Now, if you spray a little bit of starch on your fabric, like right now on the end of this to get it to work, it is not going to shrink your fabric the way that a lot of people say it will. It's when you're going to saturate the entire fabric everywhere, but you're just putting a little spritz if you do that. That's not going to shrink this piece of fabric. If it did, you would see it immediately. We have them all ironed and opened up just like before. We're going to go ahead and we're going to iron the other side. And if when you start out you feel like your fabric's not quite long enough to come to the very end, just slowly stretch it with your finger, because it's on the bias and it will give a little bit, so you can make sure that you reach it to the other end. And just continue that until you're totally finished, and then we'll come back and have all them open. Now we're going to have 6 of these, and it is saying for us to take these, and these have the D's on them. They're going to be on the bottom of the ones with the A on them. So we're going to take them and we're going to put them like this. So I just noticed that I had sewn the wrong ones to here. The color is so close. I had these sewn and they're wrong because they needed to match this, so I took all of these out. They took me 20 minutes and I re-sewed these. I wasn't going to show you what I'd just done wrong. So now we're moving forward and they want us to sew this to this. So what I'm going to do, because we want these to go with the pink, is we're going to need to flip them over and turn them this way and make sure we don't take our tips. So if you need to mark yours, you can. When I say mark, I mean get your pen and your ruler. I put a spot right here. Take my ruler, put it up against it, and then I mark. And then when I sew this, I will not go towards this right here. I'll go right across that, and it'll keep me from losing my tip. So I will turn them all like this. I'm going to go ahead and mark them all first. Now what I'm doing is I'm taking, which I just now thought about showing you guys, I'm taking this piece here, folding it in half, right here where it came and met together. I put a crease down here at the bottom. I take this one, lay it on top, turn it around, and I'm going to sew from this end downward. So I put this in the middle right there. I take my pin and I'm going to put it on this right hand side of the middle, so that when I approach this, I can go ahead and get up over this bump before I have to take my pin out. Then I just slowly take my fabric, move it upward towards the left, move it down here towards the right, and put a pin in it. I'll do it again. I take this, fold it in half based on where it was put together here up at the tip of the geese. It'll also fold in half like that, go down to the bottom, put a little crease with my finger. I don't need to iron it. Match the two up, so I'm making sure that I'm lining them up and put them correctly. Turn it around because I want to pin it where I've marked it up here at the tip. So I make sure it went down the middle, and then I'm going to put my pin on the right hand side here because I don't want to go over my pin. Now if you feel like you've got to, then you're just going to be real careful when you come across it. And I'll pin it on the left, come down here, roll this up with my hand so that it meets, and pin this. And then it has 3 pins in it, and that's it. Stitch them one after the other. This is where you'll line it up. If it's lining up correctly, just take your time. And then slow down when you come across this so that you don't accidentally go over your line. Alright, now I'm going to take my pin out. And then if you need to, take your fabric on the other end and slowly pull it if it needs it. If it doesn't, I mean, just put your hands on it. If it doesn't need to be pulled or any kind of help to get through, then don't bother. Just put your hand on it like I just did. I didn't need to have to pull it any. I'm going to straighten this end here because I don't have a pin on it. And you want to be careful so this stuff underneath doesn't flip up on you. And you can tell if it does. You can tell with your hands. You can feel it. And then just slowly stitch. Bring up the next piece, which you have pinned already. And we're just going to repeat the process over and over. Get it started. Take the pin out. Once you, the pin is only there to hold it together until you get it started so your pieces are together. Once that needle is locked into that fabric, it's not going to go anywhere. And then you can take your pin out. I'm going to come up onto the next one. I'm watching my line that I marked. Slowly but easy. There we go. Take out the pin. And then arrange this one because my fabric, the under fabric is sticking out, so I'm going to pull it a little bit so that it lines up as I watch my line. Get it through here and then let go of it. Come up to the pin and take it out before I cross over it. There we go. And then we'll do the next one the same way, and I will just repeat until all 6 of these are done. And I don't know as it's telling me to iron it one direction or the other. Let's get it started here. I'll look in a minute when I get finished here. Usually it's to the dark side. Okay, so you gotta watch so that it doesn't roll over on you like that. Up to the pin, there we go. And I don't have to stop and look at my line when I get done, because I looked as I went through here, the fabric is light enough, I could see that I did not get over the line towards the tips here, so I didn't lose any of my tips. And my fabric's not matching up here, but that's fine because this is over a little bit. It'll all work out at the end. Alrighty, so then you're going to end up with 6 of these, and now we're going to join our small triangle B. This is the color B, and our C, which is not this light color but the darker one, and we're going to make more flying geese. We're going to be putting this together. And now that I showed you how to do the other ones, go ahead and do that one, and then we'll come back when they are ironed open. For the next at it, we have 2 F's with an A 2 times, and that's going to be something we need to do for section B. So we're going to go ahead and do it at the tail end of the ones we're doing right now, so that they can all be done, and then all we have to do is put our rectangle together. Alrighty, so we will have 6 of these and 2 of these when you're all done. And now we're going to take these B's and we're going to attach them to these, so you'll know this is correct because this color matches this color. We're going to put these together, and then we're going to go ahead and complete this. Now, in order to keep these tips from being cut off, this is what we're going to do. Put 2 of them in here by accident. Okay, it's going to go like this. I'm going to flip it over. We're going to turn it, and then we're going to mark it just like we did before. Put down here, and we're going to go across. And we're going to do it on all 6 of these. And we're going to pin it just like we did before. Nothing to it. There you go. Now they're all marked. And now all I got to do is take one of these, just like this, line it up, and pin it. Now I'm going to pin it in 3 spots. One here, so I can come up to my pin, and I've gone over the middle before I reach the pin. So just do that on all of them. Then we'll come back. We'll chain stitch these just like we've done all of those flying geese. So let's get chain stitching these. Now you know that if you don't quite know where your 1/4 inch is, that you can mark it on your fabric. You can use a pencil to mark it because you're not going to see the pencil mark because you're actually going to be sewing over the top of it. Or you can use one of these pins that actually disappear once you put the iron to them. It's going to be your preference if you're just starting out. Now all I'm going to do is just do one right after the other and continue. And let me go ahead and show you, just in case you just now tuned in for the first time on one of my videos, let me show you another way to do this. So that, let's say that you're not sure of yourself and your 1/4 inch and you don't really want to mark it, then let's go ahead and we can begin actually right before the line here. You can put your sewing machine needle right before the line, which you can see, and we'll go ahead and we'll start in the middle here. Nothing says you have to start at the end when you sew. You start wherever you feel like you need to be starting. Let me get this all lined up. I took my pin out of this end. Now I'm going to go ahead and come across this line just as if I was sewing and had been sewing all along. And I got my 1/4 inch on my machine here. I'm just going to go ahead and come all the way to the end. I'm going to cut it. I'm going to take a look and make sure that I did not cut my tip off. I did not cut my tip off. Now I will go back to the beginning, right down here, and I will start sewing from this end now until I've met up with the part. Let me get my needle started. There we go, so it won't come out. And I'm going to come all the way down here and catch up with this. And I'm going to bypass it. I keep going 1/4 inch. There we go. And cut it right here. I'm not taking the tip off. If I want to come closer to the tip, now would be the time to sew it, but otherwise it's fine. And then just go on to the next one. And if that's the way you've got to do each and every one of these, then by all means, go ahead and do them all like this. Go ahead, I'm going to continue sewing the last 4 that I have here. Let's go ahead and we're going to connect them now. So we're going to take one of these and one of the ones we just did, and it wants us to connect it like this. So that's how we're going to be connecting them. So we're going to make 6 of these, and they're going to be section A. So I went ahead and I pinned them on each end, and then we're going to do our 1/4 inch, and we're just going to go ahead and do every one of these. And if you don't feel like you need to pin it, then fine, but I wanted to make sure that the ends met. We'll just chain stitch these, and then when we're all finished, we'll open them up, and then we have one more part to do. That's what you'll have. And then we're going to take these 2, remember we made these before? We're going to add these to the bottom of 2 of them, like that. We named the first 4 section A, and then we're going to name these 2 section B. So let's go ahead and pin them and sew them. We're going to have to mark these tips on these last 2 that we're putting together. So mark. So when you're all finished, you'll have them labeled like that. And this is what they look like. So you'll have 2 with the last remaining geese at the bottom. This one here, which is the shorter one, should be measuring 6.5 by 12.5. And then this one here, which is longer, is still going to be 6.5, but it's going to be 15.5 because you've added this piece right here. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Give it a thumbs up if you did, and I will see you all next time. Take care. Bye-bye.